obsessed with the Connie Pheiff Show. It's about a lifestyle shift to move up or out.
Hey, what's your jam? What's the one thing that really drives you? What makes you unstoppable?
It's about opening a new door to live your dream.
People give up way too early on their dreams.
It's about enjoying the journey. It's about keeping it real.
Damn, now the interviewee is interviewing the interviewer. I like this.
It's all about you.
I knew there was something else I wanted to do. Stop taking shit so seriously. Y'all can do this. Take an outrageous look at life and laugh.
This is the Connie Pheiff Show.
We love your voice. We love your jam. You need to be on radio.
And now your host, Connie Pheiff.
Well, hi, everyone. It's Connie Pheiff, and welcome back to the Connie Pheiff Show. And this week we have another amazing guest. But first of all, I want to thank all of our loyal listeners for just sticking with us and coming back here each and every single week, because you just never knew who we're going to have here on the show. So today's guest, what he is bringing over, don't let this scare you away. He's a young buck, but he has over 35 years of experience in personal and transformation and business development. And what we want to talk about today is the courage to change everything. He's a serial entrepreneur, visionary, best-selling author, a keynote speaker. He also has a syndicated radio show, radio host of the Voices of Courage. It's a show in 113 stations, and he is in 38 countries. He has developed science-based, highly practical solutions for expanding human potential and entrepreneurial leaders who are committed to living life live, generating positive impact and examples of healthy living and service. Now, he has interviewed with, consulted with, and advised celebrity clients, billionaires, and best-selling authors, including Tony Robbins, Bill Bartman, Nick Lowry, Marcy Shimoff, hope I'm saying that right, John Howard, Bobby DePorter, Chris Job, and John Assaraf, Lisa Nichols, Robert Allen, Sandra Robinson, Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, Ken Honda, and now adding to the list, Connie Pheiff. So I'm sure you've recognized many of those names. Now he has a new book out, which is The Courage to Change Everything. And it will change how personal and professional development is being delivered. So you want to make sure that you grab a copy of the book yourself, because it is a personal and a life-changing read. So welcome to the Connie Pheiff Show, Ken D.
Connie Pheiff. Connie, thank you so much for that introduction. I'm so happy to be here with you. And by the way, the Voices of Courage show has grown since that we got you that bio. We're on 160 countries now in 200 plus stations, and continue to grow. So things are happening new with us. And,
wow, how cool is that?
It's very cool. Yeah, well, you've led the way a long time with the podcast, so I'm honored to be on your show.
I guess I was one of the early adopters of it. I remember getting the phone call. I just came out of a speaking engagement. I was in Philadelphia, and my son was with me, and I know it was May 20th because it was his birthday, and the reason he was with me is because I was taking him to dinner for his birthday. But I get this phone call, and his girlfriend is with us, and the call was something like, "Hey, we want you to, host this radio show, and it was going to be out of Chicago, and we want you to be this podcast host." And I'm like, "Okay." And I hang up the phone, and my son's like, "Well, what is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, they want me to host this podcast show." And he's like, "Do you even know what that is?" And I'm like, "I have no idea, but I'm going to host this podcast show."
That's how it starts, yeah.
I know. And I was thinking before we got started, and I was thinking that was really actually almost 7.5 years ago.
Wow.
Because I had to think back to what year birthday that it was, that it was for him. But yeah, 7.5 years ago, I started doing it. And here I am, like how many years later? Oh my gosh. But it's incredible. And, and you're using it for podcasting, and you have this new book coming out, your 7th book, and you talk about courage. And most people hear the word courage, and think, like running out of a burning building but I mean, how are you defining courage in your book? I mean, I was reading some of the excerpts, but I wanted you to share that with our listeners.
Well, courage is a very interesting concept. And, a lot of us think of courage, like you said, sometimes we think of, running into burning buildings or, first responder type stuff or maybe jumping out of an airplane in a parachute, and of course, all those things take courage. But the courage I talk about is the courage to really become who you're meant to be. And courage comes from the Latin word cur, which means to speak one's heart. So when I define courage, I think I like to give you contrast with it. So when we think about fear, everybody knows what fear feels like, right? Your heart starts palpitating, maybe your mind shuts down, maybe you go into fight or flight, you feel kind of anxious. So we know what fear, but if I ask most people, well, tell me what courage feels like, most people can't answer that. But I can tell you, when we are courageous, it has a sense of what I want to say, expansion within ourselves. It has a sense of our mind starts to get on fire and get clear. And I'll give you an example of this. Just think for 1 second, our audience, think of one challenge you're having. I don't care what it is. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's in your business. Maybe it's in your health or your fitness. Something you're thinking about that really is like you feel stuck right now. And just for one moment, ask this one question. If I was courageous, what are 3 steps I can do to overcome whatever that is? If I was courageous, what are 3 steps I could take today to overcome XYZ, whatever that is? Now, if you'll be with that just for a moment, you'll start to go, wow, there's a shift inside of you because you're tapping into something that's already there. This is feeling, this is power. Courage is powerful. So that's kind of how I like to guide people through that. So it takes courage to look at our stuff. Takes courage to walk our walk. Took courage to start a podcast 7.5 years ago when nobody knew what even a podcast basically was.
Right, exactly. Yeah, to continue that story, my husband goes out and buys me this big mixing board and brings it home. I was like, what am I supposed to do with that?
I love that.
Yeah. He's like, well, you're doing a podcast and this is what you need. I was like, oh, okay. We'll figure that one out. But, and again, you talk about, I mean, it does take courage to look at oneself. Sometimes, when we have all of this stuff going on in our life, it's easier just to just be blind, and shut it all down and think, oh, it'll just go away. It'll just work itself out. But you're right. It really takes more courage to face it head on.
Well, I was talking to a friend this morning, went for a walk this morning, and he was telling me that a group of his friends was challenging him on the concept of everything is perfect. So there's a group of friends that thinks everything is perfect. Everything shows up perfectly, right? Well, my thought to his argument, because he was on the opposite side. He was saying, no, everything's not perfect. And he said, if everything is perfect, then you would have to discount imperfect. And if you discount imperfect, then you can go through life thinking everything's perfect. But what's really going on is you're probably not using you're not discerning what's working, what's not working, and where can we do better. And see, it takes courage to look at what's not working in our life. Mm-hmm. And just as much courage also to look at what's working. Some people get stuck in I was trained, I don't know about you, but I was trained as a critical thinker, always kind of looking for what might fall apart, what's wrong. That's just kind of how my family was.
Well, that's what I was actually thinking when you were saying that. I mean, does that really take away our ability to be critical thinkers? And I think as entrepreneurs, we really do need to be critical thinkers. I mean, if business is just riding along, I mean, you constantly, and again, in this ever-changing world, you need to be critical thinkers and say, okay, where do we need to go next? Where do we need to go next? Because if you just, everything is perfect and you're just riding along, I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. So, and I tend to use language very carefully, only because I notice that, words have power, and sometimes I don't usually use the word, I need to be a critical thinker anymore. I just go, what's working, what's not, and it's semantics, I know, but semantics with words, with the way that we feel, sometimes we identify words that have a negative connotation inside. We'll feel it. We focus on we feel if we identified it that way. So in the book, The Courage to Change Everything, what I've done is I've helped us to anybody that wants to develop a little more wisdom and discernment in their life. Why is that important, by the way? It's important because if you were to really develop let's say your conscience. Jiminy Cricket, remember Disney said, follow your conscience, right?
Right.
Well, that conscious part, or your intuition, that's 100% accurate. So if, most people have undeveloped intuition, me included, I'm not 100% perfect, but I can tell you this, I'm working on moving into that, because if we make good choices on a consistent basis, what happens is our businesses start to thrive. Our relationships start to thrive. Our health starts to get better and better. But this all takes courage to do it, doesn't it? It takes courage, like you were saying, to Connie, to kind of look at, hey, let's look at what's really not working in our life, or what's not, in your words, let's look at the critical side of what's happening here.
Right, and it does make a difference, or like you said, the courage to change everything. Yeah.
Well, you change one thing, you change everything. I'll give you a good example. When I was, 25 years ago, I decided to get off of red meat. And so I stopped eating red meat, and my mind went crazy. I started thinking I was going to starve. I wasn't going to get enough protein. I was going to die. And, but I thought, well, that's how I've been programmed. That's a lot of fear there. Well, let me go and do some research around this. So really what happened is that I ended up, it opened a whole new world for me of things to eat that I'd never even seen, right?
Yeah. Well, you were really detoxing. Your body was going through that detox until you got to that other side. Because I as well have stopped, and I went to vegan, 90% vegan now. And even I go to a naturopathic doctor who even said, do 90% vegan. So I'm safe with that.
That's pretty good. I mean, you can give the dog a bone once in a while, but that's a lot better, I'm sure, than where you were. And sometimes we get doubt and critical with ourselves, which is the way to be, right?
Right.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Right. We do. I mean, I just came back from Nashville. Of course, there's, beef cow everywhere or whatever.
Everywhere.
Oh my God. You can just smell the barbecue in the air. And it's like, all right, I'll have to have some.
Right. Yeah, you're going to taste something. It's not going to kill you.
Right. It's not going to, as long as it's fresh.
But I want to say this, it's, and let me make my point on the book. So I wrote this book, The Courage to Change Everything, for individuals like myself who are very busy and we want to change, we want to make the changes,
right?
But we're like, well, I don't know. I don't really have time to go and spend an hour a day trying to think about how I can improve myself and go out and take the next workshop or class or relationship workshop. I just don't have the time. So I thought, what if I could distill the profound wisdom principles from the East and combine them with the cutting edge wealth principles from the West, and we could get it every day, 10 minutes, dripping on our mind, profound, astute wisdom, and taking specific actions. What if we could do that every day? How cool would that be?
Yes.
And so that's how this book was born. And as you know, there's 365 days that we get to just spend 10 minutes a day dripping on our mind, some wisdom. And who doesn't want that? I mean, I don't know about you. When I hear truth, when I hear wisdom, it inspires me. My mind gets on fire. I want to go in that direction.
Well, it's like going to the gym every day, and it's just that little bit, that little bit, that little bit. Well, that takes me to the next question that I had for you was, where do you get your wisdom for the writings? Because you've written several books. You've written another book, The Time Factor, Ask and You Will Succeed, Release, Renew, Evolve. So where have you gotten some of the inspiration for all of your books?
Oh my gosh, I've got it from studying a lot of spiritual principles from, like I said, from the East, whether it be, I've got it in so many different directions. Kabran, whether it be Yogananda's teaching, whether it be Christ's teachings, whether it be the Gnostics. I mean, there's a lot. For me, it's not about the personality of the teacher. What it is that, does this resonate truth within my own soul, and do I feel it? And then can I actually apply it to my life and make it work? So a lot of those teachers, I'm a voracious reader. I've probably read 1,000 books in the last 20 years. Wow. And so I absorb it. But it's not about information for me. See, I believe we have too much. We've got enough information.
Well, it's an information, right? It's an information age, right?
Google it. But what we're lacking right now is wisdom. And what we need to do is learn how to tune into our own wisdom, which I've got. There's many questions in this book that'll help you to reflect on your own truth, your own wisdom. It's not about me being your guru here. This is about helping you. And all my books are this way. Taking a dive within yourself on a consistent basis. So you start to really get to know yourself, feel good about yourself, and make conscious choices that can change your destiny, change the way you're living.
The Connie Pheiff Show is heard everywhere. You can find The Connie Pheiff Show on most of your favorite networks. It's time to now recognize and thank our major networks for all of their support. In the house, we have Conscious Business Radio, C-Suite Radio, Transformation Radio, iHeartRadio. We are also heard on Google Play, Apple, Radio, Stitcher, and so many more that I just can't keep up with them all. I'm Connie Pheiff, your unstoppable diva. Learn more about our gym and how we can work together at my fancy schwanky website, ConniePheiffShow.com. I'll see you over there. Until then, like, share. Now back to the show. So I was stalking you. And I came across some quotes, some feedback. Do you mind if I read some of those?
Love it. Go ahead.
Okay, so on the current book, The Courage to Change Everything. So first one, life is changing. No one gets away scot-free. Ken D. Foster's personal and professional journey is no exception. With great love and his own hard-won, W-O-N, courage, he has made it his mission to help others change everything. The courage to change everything to literally any page and always found a unique new guiding principle, example, or insight that radically changed my thinking for the better. Day 360 is my personal favorite. Another one, this one, O-N-E, is my personal favorite. Ken talks about what it takes to make dramatic positive change in your life and lays out simplistic solutions. It's inspirational and it's loaded with positive insight. Highly recommend this book. Another, Ken has put together a wonderful compilation of courageous insights, inspiration, education, and action in capital letters for anyone who is interested in living a fulfilling life. And one more, Ken's book provides invaluable tools and perspective to those who want to live a fulfilled life and achieve their potential. I highly recommend this book. The feedback of what I found, it just went on and on and on, Ken. It's just incredible the lives, the impact that you are making on the lives of other people. And I mean, and that's who we are.
Yeah, thank you for that. I hadn't heard those, so that really it warms my heart. And it all starts with just being real and being authentic. And for me, I'm a very fallible human. I've made a million mistakes, and but it's not about making mistakes as much as it is. We all make mistakes. But there's so many of us that make the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. And I've been aware of my mistakes, I guess maybe hypersensitive to that since about 1992, when I had an experience where I guess I kind of woke up. I was hearing this little voice in my head that says, "You've got to feel the pain to make the change." And at the time, I didn't want to feel anything, right? I was in a place where I was trying to run away from my feelings. And when I heard that, I took it to a therapist that I was working with for a year. And the therapist, when I said that to him, he says to me, "Ken, I can't work with you anymore. You have to follow that voice." And can you imagine? I'm working with the therapist for a year, and I'm hearing this voice in my head. And I sit down with him, I tell him, and he says, "I can't help you. You have to follow the voice." And I'm walking out of the therapy session going, "Is he crazy or am I? What's going on?"
Right. I'm hearing voices in my head. Where am I going with this?
Right. Exactly. I'm hearing voices, and you're telling me to follow this voice, and my life is just a mess. Well, I did. And that voice led me to the soul, and it led me to my understanding who I was. So,
well, we're glad that you listened to the voice. So will you ever be satisfied with the work you're doing?
I'm really satisfied with the work I'm doing. Thank you for asking that, because there was a point in time where I wasn't satisfied. In fact, one of the things I like to do with my books is I like to go back and do the book after I've written the book. So this year, this book just came out. So this year, I started on January 1st, and I'm going through and reading the text and doing the exercises every day. And then I take a journal out, and I journal 1 page a day about what my thoughts are. And what, again, I ask a lot of questions of myself in a way that I ask empowering questions so that I can empower myself every day to move forward and do something that I haven't done before. Basically, to bring that courage in my own life, right? Imagine if we did just one thing that we hadn't done before every day for 365 days. How insightful would we become by just that one little exercise?
Right. I mean, that alone is it's personally powerful. It's uplifting. It's healing. It could be so healing to so many people as well. So often, too often, people live in a place of fear, and they're fearful to take that step forward. But
Connie, think about it this way. Think about people right now, because there's a lot of health challenges on the planet.
Yes,
and I've had health challenges, and I apply this principle every single time. And the principle is this: health challenges are a journey. Okay, so we are there to learn, to evolve, to grow. Sometimes we have to learn how to heal ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
Yes,
it comes with all of that. Every challenge we have comes with it all. So for me, it's like, well, what can I do different today to take along that quest to heal that?
Yes,
right? Whatever it is. And I think a lot of times we get stuck with health challenges, thinking it's always going to be that way, thinking that there's nobody that can help us. Well, there's so many different practitioners. There's so many ways to heal our bodies, because we're these energetic bodies, and we as we learn and we grow, we evolve. It's amazing, which is it takes wisdom to do this.
Yes.
And in my book, what I've tried to do is inspire you every day, just a drip, 10 minutes a day. It's all it takes, 10 minutes a day. And you will start to change everything. It's so cool.
So where can our listeners learn more about you, the work that you do? Share away.
Okay, let me share the book itself. You can get the book on Amazon in the Kindle form, or you can get the hard copy on my site, which is couragetochange.us, couragetochange.us, and it comes with some pretty cool bonuses. You can go on the site and see that. If you'd like to get a hold of me and find out a little bit more about my work, just go to voicesofcourage.us to listen to the show, or Ken D. Foster, or KenDFoster.com. Got to remember my own sites.
I was going to jump in. It's Ken D. Foster.
KenDFoster.com. Yeah, so.
Okay. Well, Ken, I loved having you on the show. It's amazing. The work that you're doing is amazing. Keep writing. I love everything that you're doing. It's really incredible. And thank you for being here.
Connie, thank you so much for the work you do, and thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. So again, check him out, KenDFoster.com, and grab a copy of his book. Again, A Courage to Change Everything.
CourageToChange.us.
And the book is A Courage to Change Everything.
That's right.
Right. But A Courage to Change.us is where we can get a copy of the book. It really will make a difference. So, and again, that's all we have for today. I'm Connie Pheiff, your unstoppable diva. And if you're finding yourself at a crossroads, if you're in a career and you're just looking for that platform and where you can share your story, and check us out, Talent Concierge. And we just might be that label that you're looking for. TalentConcierge.co, or just reach out to me directly. You may never know. You may qualify to be represented by our agency. I look forward to talking to you real soon. And I will chat with you next week when we have another incredible guest. And remember this week, be kind to each other and be well. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, y'all, it's Connie Pheiff. Thank you for listening to the Connie Pheiff Show. Check back often. You don't want to miss any of the good stuff. If you like what you hear and would like to be a guest on the show, head over to theconniefeifshow.com to apply. While you're there, check out our amazing advertising opportunities that will put you right in front of your perfect client. I will see you over there. Do yourself a favor this week. Activate your power and be unstoppable together.